Welcome back to the Forgotten Horror Show, where we celebrate the forgotten classics of horror. This time around, it's episode 2 of David Cronenberg's 1975 body horror classic, Shivers.
Let's see what you want of.
You know you want.
On this island, in this building, through this door, down this hallway, lies the most frightening experience of your life. Prepare yourself for They Came From Within if you think you're not afraid of the dark. If you think you have a strong stomach. If you feel nothing can shock you. If you believe you've seen everything. If you say you don't scare easily, no one is safe from them. No power on earth can stop them. The only escape is death. They came from within.
Hello, I'm Ronald Merrick, and I'm here to invite you aboard our Starliner. Yes, it's true. Day-to-day living becomes a luxury cruise when you've made your home at Starliner Tower Apartments. Although downtown Montreal...
Hey, what's up? This is Agoraphobe, and welcome to episode 2 of the Forgotten Horror Show with David Cronenberg's 1975 classic body horror, Shivers. We're introduced to Ronald Merrick, which is like the manager of the Starliner Apartments, and right away he's narrating a commercial for the apartments. And off the grid, secluded across the bridge place over by Toronto, I do believe it is. It's supposed to have everything, doctor's office and shops and all that kind of stuff. The point is to be that you never have to leave these apartments to get what you need. It soon cuts to a young woman desperately leaning against the door while someone is trying to push their way through it. The door gives, and in comes an older man. This is Emil Hobbs, Dr. Emil Hobbs, and the girl is Annabelle, and she's trying hard to defend herself, even kind of kicking his ass a bit, in my opinion. But he eventually overpowers her, choking her, and to him basically to being unconscious, and he puts tape over her mouth. We'll find out why later on. Picks her up and drops her on a dining room table. He then starts cutting her open with a scalpel, which I can't show here, of course, but that's what he does. On top of that, he starts squirting some liquid inside the incision. It looks like it's burning. Some of the smoke starts coming up and all that shit. And then Hobbs just grabs his own head and uses the scalpel to slice his own throat. Meanwhile, we meet Nick and Janine Tudor. Nick is a rude fucking prick, and Janine puts up with way too much. He's got her in tears throughout most of this movie. And you can tell something's wrong with him. Besides being a prick, you can tell he's having some kind of pain, some kind of convulsion. Something's wrong with his abdomen. Like, you know. And she just wants to know what's wrong, and he's just rude as fuck to her, man. You just want to slap this guy. Well, instead of going to work like he says he's going to, he heads upstairs to her apartment in the same building, mind you. And he even has a key. But when he enters, he finds out that she's dead. She's the same girl from earlier that's been killed by the older guy. And he finds not only her, but he finds the old man dead too. Well, Nick's wife Janine is friends with another chick in the complex named Betts, played by the legendary actress Barbara Steele. I have a great story about Barbara Steele and the making of this movie. As a matter of fact, that I'll get into a little later on. I'll tell you that story at the end of the review. Well, Betts tells Janine to stop whining about Nick's bullshit and tell him to go see the doctor. There's a doctor right there in the same complex. So to go down there and stop putting all the stress on her.
Explain to him that Nick is very ill and that he has to stay in bed and ask him to come and see him. And then when he's there, they can fight it out between them.
He'll be really mad.
Well, so what? You can relax, you'll find out what's wrong with him. And let him be the uptight one for a change, really. It's just ridiculous.
So she finally agrees to take her advice.
Bravo.
Meanwhile, Nick has come home to an empty place where he spends the next several minutes convulsing and jerking and moaning, all while feeling his abdominal area. You can tell something's going on with it. Now introduced to the main protagonist, Dr. St. Luke, played by Paul Hampton, which some people don't like him, but I like him in this. And they're up in Annabelle's apartment where they found the bodies, and he claims to know Dr. Hobbs and says Dr. Hobbs wanted to meet him in that apartment 1511, around noon. St. Luke has not a fucking clue why, and now he feels like he never will. This is what it is, I guess, or I guess that's what he's probably figuring.
Dr. St. Luke, it's for you. Someone wanting to know why you didn't turn up for lunch.
Switch now to St. Luke having lunch with Dr. Litsky, played by Joe Silver, who was also in Cronenberg's Rabbit from 1977. And he starts letting St. Luke know what kind of sick pervert little Hobbs really was. How he suckered investors into investing into a plan where supposedly he had a serum that would create a parasite that would take the place of a bad internal organ like a kidney, and it would work like a kidney, and it would kill off all the bad shit, and then it would kind of replace that organ or that kidney or whatever. But what Dr. Litsky is really finding out is that it was basically something that he would use to inject into young teenage girls as like an aphrodisiac so that he could take advantage of them. But what happened was it got out of control, and it would cause whoever he injected it into to run around in a promiscuous kind of way and just kind of had sexual relations with whoever. And he also found that it was very, very contagious and very, very dangerous.
The bug in it. The bug goes to work on the kidney, dissolves it, though the body assimilates it. Now what do you got? You got a perfectly good parasite where you used to have a rotten kidney.
Which is, of course, why Hobbs felt like he had to kill Annabelle. And come to find out, she had spread it to half of the Starliner Towers, half of the men in the Starliner Towers. Yep, including Nicholas Tudor.
But who cares? Well, I mean, look, Hobbs was a lousy teacher. I mean, we got to face the facts of life. He was a lousy teacher.
Among other things.
But he had a genius for one thing. That was getting grants. Why, he could raise money for crazy projects. For example, who do you suppose is paying the rent on this place?
So that Hobbs fooled everybody to satisfy his own sick fantasies and his own sick desires.
Hobbs know this girl. Who is she? I mean? What is she?
Some chick he met while he was lecturing at a girls' school. You know what happened? They caught him examining her titties for breast cancer in the faculty lounge. She was 12 years old. You want to talk about crazy? We used to bring her up here once in a while. I'll never understand how he could do what he did to her.
So that pretty much sums up the old man and the young girl at the very beginning. Number one, he wanted to shut her up. And number two, she was full of these parasites that he put in her to make her, to give her the aphrodisiac, to make her, uncontrollable sexually. And how she was spreading it throughout and giving it to everyone throughout the Starliner Towers. So now basically what you're looking at is a sexual epidemic. Like an uncontrollable, criminal orgy, basically. Which affects the young, the old, female, male, it doesn't matter. And when he gets sick here and when he throws up basically 3 of these things that kind of look like the thing in Slither. And if they make contact with anyone else, they're infected too. And then it just on and on and on.
Oh, good heavens. Not go yet, because it's late.
The ones in Annabelle got burned out, but the rest of these motherfuckers that are coming out of Tudor are all over the place in this place now. You got everybody getting infected by them.
Ow! Better take it easy. There's a lot of pressure in there.
As I understand that you got these lumps from a young lady, is that right? I mean, what makes you think that?
Well, she had some just like them. Right here, near her belly button. You could push them around, too. I thought it was kind of sexy myself.
Dirty ass old man. Unbelievable.
Yep. In 1511.
Her name Annabelle Brown?
Yeah, that's the one.
Now she's found Nick, and he's in really bad shape. He's basically the conduit. He's basically the one that's been giving them to everybody. So I think he might have been the first one that Annabelle was messing around with, because he seems to have a bunch of them. And there, still tons to go around, man. I mean, this is become an epidemic, a horrible epidemic. And still the great wife that she is, she still wants to help him. She still loves the guy. I wanted to show still some more of the, how these things have gotten all over the place. They attack the kids, they attack everybody. In this review, I really can't get into, the specifics of it, because a lot of it gets really perverted. You'd have to really see the movie. But that's basically my idea with this show, with the Forgotten Horror Show, is to give you a basic teaser partial review, and then kind of entice you to go watch the movie. So, David Cronenberg's Shivers was really his first one. It was kind of financed by Canada. It's a little thing they had going back in the day where they helped finance films for, to help filmmakers, get going. And this is really the first one in that list. And it's a really good one. Like I said, it stars Paul Hampton as Dr. St. Luke, Lynn Lowry as Nurse Forsyth, Joel Silver as Dr. Royal Linsky, Barbara Steele as Betts, and Susan Petrie that plays the wife of Tudor. And he hired her because he said that she kind of reminded him of Michelle Pfeiffer, which she kind of does have that quality. Now, before I let you all go, I'm going to tell you the story about the one that plays Janine Tudor, Susan Petrie. I guess the whole thing is she usually played in a lot of comedies, but when she got hired for this one, she was unable to cry, and the role called for her to cry a lot. And she said the only way that she could cry was if someone slapped her. So she asked Cronenberg if he would slap her so that she was able to cry a lot more. So he humored her, and he slapped her so that she could cry during the scenes. Well, Barbara Steele came in later on, and because she wasn't there when the filming and shooting began, but she come walking in. She come in right at a time where she seen Cronenberg slapping Susan Petrie. And I guess she just went off and went nuts and grabbed him up and said, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen a filmmaker or a director treat an actress like this. And he snatched him up by his shirt and licked him up off the floor, I guess. And I guess he was like, Calm down, Barbara. She wants me to do it. This is what she asked me to do. And I guess Barbara Steele was like, oh, okay. Do I have any scenes where I cry? And I guess Cronenberg was like, no, no, Barbara. There's no scenes where you cry. So I thought that was a pretty funny little story. But yeah, this is a really good one. This is really body horror at its best. I'm going to leave you with one last little scene here of the great Barbara Steele here, where she gets infected by the parasite. But I'd recommend, if you haven't seen this film, go see this film. If you haven't seen it in a while, go watch it again, because it really kicks ass. Check this out. Much love to y'all. This is Gorophobe, and you are not.
Has Montreal police baffled today as they attempt to untangle events leading to the discovery of 2 bodies in the Starliner Island apartment complex, cutting his throat with a scalpel after performing an as yet unexplained operation on a 19-year-old woman's nude body was found lying on the dining room table, badly mutilated.